What's going on, Fam Jam? So I did get a comment in one of the previous videos to do my top 25 in college football. So I've done it on Facebook and Instagram the past couple of years. Y'all said you wanted to see it on video, so here's what we'll do, and we'll get right into it. Number 25, I've got San Diego State University. They're playing pretty good football. I like the way that they're looking at adversity. Not super close games, but they get turnovers, and you just see a calm over that team. I like it. So that's number 25. Number 24 is going to be Texas. Texas played Oklahoma this week in the Great Red River Showdown. It was a great game. They went out crazy, 28-point first quarter. Couldn't close out Oklahoma. Oklahoma ended up coming back, but they played a good game. I thought they showed a little bit of resiliency, just not enough, so that's why they come down a little bit. Number 23 is SMU. They're still undefeated, and I think they're playing pretty sound football, but not enough to get all the way up or into the top 20. 22, I'm going to go with Texas A&M. Now, they did pull off the great upset of the number 1 Alabama, the Crimson Tide, but they do still have 2 losses over there in the West, and they're still using their backup quarterback. I think a little bit of their defense where they made a stand with Alabama. Sometimes it doesn't work for them, sometimes it does. It kind of just depends on everything. And a big advantage that they have is they were in College Station. But they did pull off the upset, so that's a big plus for those guys out at Texas A&M. So they're number 22 this week. Number 21 is going to be North Carolina State. The Wolfpack has been playing super sound football. It's not like it's over the top. They're not going to do a whole lot of highlights or anything, but they've been playing very solid football, and that's what I like. Could be a little bit of a dark horse out of the ACC, maybe to get to the title game. We'll see how that shakes out later on in the season. Number 20, I'm going to go with Florida. Those guys, sometimes they come out and they look fantastic. They're in the swamp. They're playing Alabama. They look like a top 10 team. They played Alabama down to the final minute, only lost by 2 points. Looked great. Then other times, they don't look good. I don't know if it's with Dan Mullen's coaching decisions. I don't know. I know they have a little bit with the quarterback situation going back and forth. But they've got weapons on the outside. I know they've got a good run game. It's just the decisions on when to use those things is not really matching up with the team. I think that's kind of affecting them more than they want to admit it is. Number 19, I'm going to go with Arizona State University. Again, Pac-12 team, air raid team, but they do it really well. I think they're right at the second tier in the Pac-12. I think they've had a couple of great seasons. I think that if you give them a little bit more time, they can start to be a contender for the Pac-12 title. You need to grow up a little bit. That's a young football team. Give them 1 or 2 more years. I think they'll be all right. Number 18, I've got Arkansas. And it's tough because they had such a great first month of football, and then they ran into the buzzsaw that was Georgia in Athens, and got shut out. And what I liked about Arkansas this week is they didn't let that get them down. They knew that was going to be a tough game. They came back out of Athens, and they played Ole Miss all the way down. They only lost because of a failed 2-point conversion. That one errant pass gets caught. They're back at 5-1. They control their own destiny in the West. And I love that Sam Pittman gave them the option of, go out, get that, and we'll win the game. Don't kick it. Don't go to overtime. All the credit to Ole Miss and everything with their offense. But at the end of the game, Arkansas had what they needed. They just couldn't convert, so they had to take that loss. But that's all right. I think Arkansas bounces back this coming week. 17, I got BYU. They're playing really good football. Another group of 5 team coming up in the top 25. I think their defense is what's winning them ball games. I like them. I do want to see a little bit more out of those guys. And, in the coming years, see a little bit more with their scheduling, play, Power 5 kinds of things that may get them up into the 10, maybe into the playoff. Or this could be an argument to go ahead and give us the 8 or 12 team playoff that everybody, or most everybody's looking for. 16, I've got Notre Dame, and that's lower than a lot of people. I understand that, but I've watched almost every Notre Dame game, and they win by the skin of their teeth in a lot of these games. They took the L from Cincinnati in South Bend. I'm not saying that it's all on the players. I'm not saying that it's all on Brian Kelly, but they're just finding ways to win games and not in like this flashy fashion. They went to overtime with a Florida State team that's got 4 losses on the season. So I'm not as a big believer in Notre Dame as everybody else is. 15, I've got Wake Forest, who to me looks like the best team in the ACC. I don't know if there's another one, but Wake Forest is legit, coming out undefeated, 6-0. They're doing really well with what they've got. I like the Demon Deacons this season. Number 14, I've got Coastal Carolina, another undefeated team out of the group of 5. I think them, BYU, and Cincinnati make a case that we do need to expand the playoff, give these teams an opportunity to play. They may not win the ball games, but if they're playing these big Power 5 teams, they're going to gain experience from that kind of stuff. So that's why I think that they're doing really good, and 14 is a good spot to set. At 13, we've got Ole Miss. They did end up pulling it out against Arkansas, Arky, this week at home, but it was only by a point, and it was because Arkansas didn't convert on the 2-point conversion. I'm not arguing with Ole Miss's offense. They've got a great offense, and they're doing well, but that defense is not stopping anything. And the old Landshark days of that defense are long gone, and it's apparent all over that field. But they did pull out the win, and it bounced back from the loss with Alabama the week before, so we'll keep them up. 12, I got Oklahoma State. They're undefeated. I love the way this team's playing. Mike Gundy is, 1, hilarious, and 2, willing to take chances that I love to see. Really makes me excited to see Oklahoma and Oklahoma State play later in the year. Number 11, I've got Ohio State, and that's mostly to do with the Oregon loss. That Oregon loss going into the horseshoe and winning against Ohio State continues to look a little rough because Oregon does not look as top tier as they have. The loss at Stanford kind of hurt them. And that's a lot. Ohio State's playing good football. I just don't know if they're going to get exposed by another team or if they've corrected their mistakes yet. And we'll see that in the coming weeks. Number 10, I've got Oregon. This was kind of a toss-up, but Oregon had the head-to-head over Ohio State. They've got a great offense. They're playing good football, but they don't have a defense. And right now, that's kind of where we're looking at, is a little bit of college football transitioning back to a lot of the defenses are what's winning the ball games. So, got to look at that. Oregon at number 10. Number 9 is going to be Kentucky. I'm super surprised with Kentucky. I don't know if this is the most surprising. It is to me of this season. They have now beat LSU. They beat Florida. They control their destiny in the East. Now this week they do have to play Georgia in Athens. And my prediction for that is that they do not pull off that upset. But anything can happen in this season of college football. Everybody's taking early season L's. So Georgia could. I just don't think it's going to be this one. But Kentucky's playing super, super good football. Their defense is really sound. They're not giving up the big over-the-top plays. And their run game is stretching out that game to where their time of possession's great. They're not giving the other offense the ball. And that's what Kentucky's doing. It's doing really well. Number 8, I've got Michigan State. Sparty's doing great, which I love when you get deep into the season and two teams meet, which is going to be Michigan State eventually. If Michigan State can keep this going, that just makes that game with Michigan later in the season that much more great for everybody. I don't know where that game's going to be played, but Michigan State up to this point has played really great football. I love it, and let's hope Sparty keeps on going because I like to see that kind of stuff. Number 7 is Penn State. Penn State is a legit football team, guys. They lost to Iowa, yes. They lost to Iowa by 3 at Iowa, okay? But Penn State is legit. They are a very good football team, and somebody had to lose that game. I always say that the home team gets a 3-point advantage, and that's what happened in Iowa and Penn State's game. Iowa won by 3. So Penn State's a good team. Number 6 is Alabama. Now 1-6 is a pretty big drop, but Texas A&M wasn't ranked at that point. I know they're ranked now. And it came down to a last-second field goal, and Texas A&M pulled it off. They were in College Station, but the run defense for Alabama is not the defenses we've seen out of Saban teams in the last decade. Their offense, yes, their offense makes points, scores a lot of points, and they did. I mean, they had 38 points this week. It's just Texas A&M had 41. They're going to be, Saban is going to do what Saban does. I think that they will get the couple of blown coverages from that game checked into and bounce back next week with Mississippi State. But right now I've got them at 6. Number 5 is Michigan. They're playing really good football. I don't think anybody expected Michigan to be undefeated at this point in the season, but they are, which makes the Michigan-Michigan State game great. It's going to make Michigan-Ohio State game great. Harbaugh, I think, finally has the pieces that he's wanted to do and have a good team. I think he's finally there, so that's why I've got them at 5. 4 is Oklahoma. I have to keep respecting Oklahoma for winning the ball games, not taking the L. I know they went down to the wire with Texas. They were down 28-7 and still came back to win that ball game. Got to give respect for that kind of stuff. They did pull Rattler, and I don't know how often they're going to keep him as QB1, but they put in the backup and they did better against Texas, so Rattler may have lost his job this week. Number 3, I've got Cincinnati, another group of 5 team, all the way up into number 3. Cincinnati's playing fantastic football. Their defense is playing well. Their offense is playing well. And I think they have a legitimate way to make it in there after the win over Notre Dame and South Bend. I do think if they can get undefeated, win their championship game, I think they have the best case to get a group of 5 team into the playoff this year, especially with all the chaos going on with everybody else. Number 2, I've got Iowa. They did pull out the top 5 showdown with Penn State, who again I think is a very good football team, plays very sound defense, and it's kind of hard to bottle up in their offense, and Iowa was able to manage that and beat them. They were at home. They beat them by 1 field goal, but Iowa's big key is the takeaways this year. Their defense is super helped out with takeaways, scoring defense. Iowa's bread and butter is taking football away from the offense, and that didn't stop this game. So that's what's really propelled Iowa up into number 2. And then number 1, I'm going to put Georgia. Georgia's defense is the main reason, and it's been the storyline for that squad the whole year. They're averaging 5.5 points a game, and that's unreal. Like, they're not even averaging a touchdown a game against opponents in defense. I do think Kirby has a little bit of a problem with the QB room, and I know the press keeps asking him about it, and he gets frustrated with it because he's got confidence in both guys and everything. But I don't think that Stetson is the elite quarterback. I think Stetson is a great game manager. I think he can make plays, but I also think that when trying to make those big plays, he does force the ball a bit and is more prone to interceptions and giving the ball away than JT Daniels is. But if Daniels is injured, it's really great to have somebody like Stetson, who's a senior, who has the experience, who knows the playbook, as a backup. So I think they're managing that situation the best that they can. I don't think there's this massive controversy inside the team. I think they're all team-focused and just want the team to do well, which is a fantastic way to run that. But the storyline of this is the defense, and if they do have problems with the quarterback, they'll do what they did with Arkansas and have their 4 or 5-star tailbacks just run the ball. The offensive line has played really well the past 2 weeks and really showed up against Auburn, against that team. Not only them, but the fans didn't really rattle the offensive line. There wasn't any false starts on that game, and they eventually just took over. I think that's what's going to keep happening. But the marquee game of this week is Georgia and Kentucky. Kentucky has to travel into Athens. I think it's a close game at the half. I think Georgia pulls away, and the defense for Kentucky gets tired in the mid-third quarter. I'm going to say it is a 28-7, 28-14 ball game, with Georgia going 7-0 and Kentucky taking their first loss in the season. So, all right, guys, let me know if you like this kind of content. I love talking college football. Anybody that knows me knows that kind of stuff. And if you would, please like, subscribe, do any of those kind of things that you want to do if you like this kind of stuff. It really helps me out, and we're just getting this started. I'm really excited about it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for all your support. I'm out.